I almost recorded a video. Like I had it all ready to go to record on Friday night and said, I'll do this Saturday. I'm tired. Well, I woke up Saturday morning with breaking news that really changed the context of the entire conversation. So it was announced Saturday, May 10th, that New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr is retiring from the NFL, which, wow. It's big news. He's 34 years old. Throughout his 11-year career, he made roughly $195 million. So he can walk away from the game. He's set for life. He's comfortable. He's been dealing with an injury to his throwing shoulder. He also doesn't seem to like New Orleans and wanted out of the organization. I imagine it's actually very similar to Carson Palmer trying to get out of Cincinnati, where Derek Carr was threatening retirement, wanting a trade. They didn't want to get rid of him and said, I'll just retire then. I'm done. And I don't know where Derek Carr would have wanted to play other than New Orleans. Maybe he wanted to go to Pittsburgh or something like that. I don't know. But I think some of this is Derek Carr is injured and tired, and some of this is he wanted out of New Orleans and they weren't working with him. Either way, this is the statement that Derek Carr put out. So this is, by the way, Derek Carr, quote, Derek Carr. Upon reflection of prayer and in discussions with Heather, I've decided to retire from the National Football League. For more than 11 years, we have been incredibly blessed, and we are forever grateful and humbled by this experience. It's difficult to find the right words to express our thanks to all the teammates, coaches, management, ownership, team officials, and especially the fans who made this journey so special. Your unwavering support has meant the world to us. And that's it. He's done. Derek Carr is out. So, bye-bye, Derek Carr. Let's move on to New Orleans, because New Orleans does not have a clear starting quarterback. Or do they? We can debate. I think they do. We can talk about that. But we do need to first actually address the elephant in the room. New Orleans could have drafted Shedeur Sanders and did not. And, they could have drafted him to replace Derek Carr. They could have. They chose not to. Is that going to end up being a mistake? Are the New Orleans Saints going to regret passing on Shedeur Sanders? I don't really have the energy for a whole conversation about that. I think the draft wore me out, watching the draft, seeing how much coverage Shedeur got. Shedeur is going to be the conversation about football, among the NFL for a long time. I think this entire season, Shedeur, at least during training camp. And I don't want to talk about all that. I really don't. They passed on Shedeur. The Saints don't have him. Is that a mistake? We'll find out. That's what's kind of fun about this. Time is going to go on. And in a year or two, we're going to go, oh, that was a terrible decision. Or, oh, you know what? They found a guy they like and it worked out for them. They're happy. But you kind of got to let it play out before we make proclamations about this. So from a Shedeur Sanders, New Orleans Saints possibility standpoint, I don't have energy for it. This is all the energy I'm going to give it. This brief conversation. Acknowledge, hey, I know it's here. It's a big elephant in the room. And we'll see how it works out. Now, New Orleans has 3 quarterbacks on their team now. They've got Jake Haener, a 4th-round pick 2 years ago in 2023. Spencer Rattler, who was a 5th-round pick last year in 2024. And then they've got rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck, who was a 2nd-round pick a few weeks ago, drafted number 40th overall out of Louisville. So I think Shedeur Sanders is going to get all the conversation among the rookie quarterbacks. When's he going to play? They're going to talk more about Shedeur than Cam Ward in Tennessee, who was the number 1 overall pick. To me, truly, the way more interesting situation, by far, the most interesting rookie quarterback is Tyler Shuck, the 40th overall pick, drafted in the 2nd round. I think he could be a franchise quarterback. We'll talk about it. I love the guy. He's interesting. Either way, though, it's a really cool situation for New Orleans. They've got Kellen Moore, a new head coach, and he really understands the quarterback position. I grew up watching Boise State and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, the lefty, had a weaker arm, but was just a master throwing the football at anticipation, understanding windows. I watched a lot of Boise State Kellen Moore games with my dad on the couch, enjoying the golden era, really, of Boise State football. Chris Peterson as head coach, Kellen Moore at quarterback, and they just were prolific and a ton of fun to watch. So Kellen Moore played quarterback and did it at a really high level. He was never going to be a great NFL quarterback, had a weaker arm, smaller, was drafted behind Dak Prescott, kind of the backup in Dallas, and became their offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, coordinator. Then he was a coordinator last year in Philadelphia. They won the Super Bowl. So now he's a head coach in New Orleans. Kellen Moore, like I said, played the quarterback position, understands the quarterback position, and really friendly to the offensive side of the football. If you're a young quarterback, I can't imagine a better head coach to work with than Kellen Moore, given his background and understanding of the game. Now, Kellen Moore, the head coach, has 3 young quarterbacks to work with, and I think it's kind of ideal for him. If you're going to have 3 young quarterbacks, all 26, 25, and 24, you could do a lot worse than Jake Haener, Tyler Shuck, and Spencer Rattler. And let's be clear, Tyler Shuck turns 26 in September, and also in September, Spencer Rattler is going to turn 25. So it'll be 25, 26, and 26. It's not till March that Jake Haener turns 27. I'd also imagine, by the way, Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck already know each other. They grew up in the Phoenix area. They're the same age. In fact, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is also from Phoenix. There's a picture of him at prom with Tyler Shuck. So Brock Purdy, Tyler Shuck. I think, look, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I knew all the big quarterbacks in the Portland, Oregon area. You train together. You kind of know each other. I imagine it's the same. So Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck probably know each other, probably trained together growing up. That's an interesting dynamic I wonder about. Now, of all of the 3 quarterbacks the Saints have, I believe by far Tyler Shuck is the best. He's the biggest and best athlete. And I've seen Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener play in the NFL already. I know what they could do a little bit. I've got an understanding. To me, look, Spencer Rattler has a cannon, right? And Jake Haener was awesome at Fresno State through back shoulder fades. He's fun to watch. I'm not going to write them off completely, I guess. Maybe Spencer Rattler wins the job early on. But they're all going to be learning Kellen Moore's offense for the first time. So even though they're NFL veterans by a year or two, they don't really have a huge advantage. They're all having to learn a new system. They're all running Kellen Moore's offense for the first time in their career. And then picking Tyler Shuck was a vote of confidence. Drafting him in the second round, 40th overall. I mean, they picked him. They picked Tyler Shuck. And that leads me, by the way, to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players to your Prize Picks lineup. You're making picks, guys, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs in baseball, or maybe we're talking about points in a playoff basketball game. With Prize Picks, take your shot of more or less for your opportunity to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. Prize Picks is the best way to get real money action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports, combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks because Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes, and Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Making picks, I think New Orleans picked Tyler Shuck. I believe Tyler Shuck is going to be the guy who will win the starting quarterback job in New Orleans. And by the way, Shuck, like his last name's kind of I've heard it said a lot of different ways. I'm going to say Tyler Shuck, and I'm going to say it quickly, like Shuh. Is it Shuck or Shuh or Shuh? And you kind of say it fast and pull this. I don't know. Correct me on how to say it. I've always said Tyler Shuck, and if you want to correct me, go ahead. I don't really care. We all know how his name is spelled. I've heard it said every other way you possibly can. It seems up in the air, so whatever. Let's have that conversation if you want. Either way, I think Tyler Shuck is going to be the guy who wins the starting job in New Orleans. I love his ball placement down the sideline. He's got a great arm. He's a good athlete. He can use his legs to get out of trouble and keep plays alive. And then he's got an advantage. He played college football for Jeff Brom at Louisville. So Tyler Shuck compared to like Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. Jackson Dart at Ole Miss playing for Lane Kiffin was not in an NFL offense using NFL terminology. Things were made really easy for him. He had a lot of help from the play design and the scheme. Jeff Brom, the head coach at Louisville, played quarterback and it's an offensive system at Louisville that translates really well to the NFL in terms of terminology, in terms of what you're asking your quarterback to do. You're doing more high-level things. So I think Tyler Shuck is more prepared for the NFL than a guy like Jackson Dart who played at Ole Miss, and thankfully he's going to sit for a while under Russell Wilson. Now, the three main negatives people talk about with Tyler Shuck is his age, the conference he played in, and his past injury. So let's tackle the conference first because it's the most egregious and silly. Tyler Shuck played at Louisville in the ACC, and some people say the level of competition wasn't high enough, which to me is a really stupid criticism because the number one overall pick, Cam Ward, also played in the ACC at Miami. And I don't know why the ACC is bad for Tyler Shuck, but it's fine for Cam Ward. There's a lack of consistency there I don't understand. And so for me, that's where the conversation kind of ends. But let's dive a little further because Tyler Shuck last year played Miami and Notre Dame. They lost by a touchdown. He also lost SMU by a touchdown. Like playing high-level teams, being competitive. He didn't have a turnover against Miami, and they scored in every drive in the second half but one when a guy screwed up, and it wasn't his fault, right? They beat Clemson at Clemson. They beat Kentucky at Kentucky. I'm not worried about the level of competition from Tyler Shuck's college career. I don't agree that that's a concern. And on top of that, he never played on a dominant team. He never played on a Nick Saban Alabama team like Tua Tagovailoa did or Mac Jones did, where you're playing with literally the best teams and teammates and players in the country, where your offensive line means you're never feeling any pressure around you. Your receiver's going to catch any ball in his location. No, Tyler Shuck had teammates that he kind of had to elevate and learn how to develop good habits and handle a offensive line that wasn't perfect and a receiver that's not going to catch everything. And basically, because of the teammates around him, he had to learn how to play quarterback at a high level for real, rather than kind of using, I got the best receiver in the country. It's kind of a cheat code. Let's just throw it up. And then half your reps aren't even real. So the level of competition, the teams he played on, not a concern to me at all with Tyler Shuck. Now, injuries. He played in college football for 7 years. That's a long time. He broke his left collarbone, and then he re-injured it. So 2 years in a row, broke his left collarbone. Then he fractured his left fibula in 2023. That's the lower leg bone below the knee, between your knee and your ankle. To me, the injury history is not concerning. It's, a collarbone and a fibula fracture. These are broken bones. These are injuries that are bad luck. You're like, man, like I don't think that's a consistent thing that's going to happen all the time. There's no knee injuries. There's no back injuries. There's no joints. There's no ligaments. To me, the injuries, even though they did pile up a little bit for Tyler Shuck, I don't see a concern. Like Michael Penix Jr. at Indiana destroyed both his knees and shoulders. And you're like, well, if he could be a first round pick, I certainly can't look at the injury history of Tyler Shuck and have any kind of concern at all. Now, age is the big one that I understand a little bit. I disagree with the concern over Tyler Shuck's age, but I get why. He's going to be 26 when the year starts. And a lot of people are comparing Tyler Shuck to Brandon Weeden, who was 28 years old when he got drafted in the first round by the Cleveland Browns. He played some minor league baseball, then went to college, then went to the NFL. I just don't think it's the same. I don't think you can compare Tyler Shuck to Brandon Weeden. They're different players. They're different situations. And 28 is a bit old. I get that. Now, here's some real information, though, that I think does add context that's worth acknowledging. Tyler Shuck was the backup to Justin Herbert at Oregon, right? So 7 years ago, Tyler Shuck was a backup quarterback to Justin Herbert, who's entering year 6 in the NFL. It's a long time. And then, again, for real, Brock Purdy is an NFL veteran at this point. Maybe that's a stretch, but he's entering year 4 in the NFL. Brock Purdy is. Tyler Shuck went to prom with Brock Purdy. I don't think they were each other's dates, but there's a picture of them at prom together. Like, that's how old Tyler Shuck is. And I understand that's a concern, but to me, 26 is just not the end of the world for a rookie quarterback. He's slightly older. Okay. He also has a ton of experience. He went to 3 colleges: Oregon, Texas Tech, and Louisville. 7 years of football. And a friend of mine, joined the Air Force later in life at 26 years old. So he's older. Everyone else at basic training was basically 18. He's 26. He's got 8 years on everyone. He'd already had a real job. He'd been to college a bit. He'd had perspective. He knew what the real world was like. And he says basic training was easier for him because he's got some experience. He's been yelled at real jobs. He's had difficult things happen. He had a more mature perspective. He knew how to handle money. Like a lot of these guys, when they first went to the military, they'd never had a real job before. This is their first time making enough money to live on their own. And to me, it's similar with Tyler Shuck. I know the NFL has actually helped the NFL a lot so the NIL has helped the NFL a lot, where more than ever, rookies have dealt with money before during the college career. So they're a little better at handling money. So even though it's, handling money is probably less of a benefit than it would have been 5, 6, 7 years ago, I still view Tyler Shuck as a football veteran. Played in 42 games in college over 3 teams, meaning multiple different offensive systems. 26 just isn't a big deal to me. As if to say, by the way, people talk about Tyler Shuck's age as if like, if he was just 24, we'd be fine. It's like, well, it's 2 years. I don't know, man. I don't really see the huge, crazy problem. He's married. He's mature. If anything, Tyler Shuck's age is more of a positive than a negative. I think he's going to bring a lot of experience and poise to that quarterback room. And so I'm excited about Tyler Shuck. I think he's the most interesting quarterback in the NFL right now. To me, he's the one I'm like, I just can't wait to see what happens. Shador is a backup and Cam Ward's on a bad team. Tyler Shuck's got an awesome coach. He's going to come out of nowhere. A lot of people aren't going to expect a lot from him because he's a second round pick, but I watched him in college and I'm like, dude, it's great ball down the sideline, extends plays a little bit, strong arm, playing inside. He's a big frame. I really like him. I really do. And I think you should keep a watch for Tyler Shuck because he's the most interesting quarterback right now that's going to be a rookie, where I think expectations are low and possibilities are high. And maybe this is all for nothing. Maybe he loses his starting job to Spencer Rattler, right? But even if that happens, it'll be like 5 or 6 weeks and then they're going to switch quarterbacks. Because I have got a lot of confidence in Tyler Shuck, and they didn't draft him for nothing. And I really, really like the things he did in college, the habits he developed, the way he became a polished quarterback. And I think he's the Saints guy. I think he's got to be their starting quarterback this year. We'll see how that goes. He's a small enough investment that if it's a bad pick, they can always replace him. You can always get another guy next year. Kind of like Davis Mills with the Houston Texans, where he started for them for a little bit and it didn't quite work out, so they drafted CJ Stroud. But maybe if Davis Mills had become a franchise quarterback, Houston would have built around him rather than replacing him. So Tyler Shuck's a similar conversation. We're like, let's see what happens here. There's enough we've seen from the past to have confidence he's going to not be terrible. And I think he actually could be pretty good.